Welcome, moms. After a nice long day at work as moms, I am glad that you would take a few minutes to hang out with me. I'm Reagan, and I'm a big believer that moms work, um, whether in the home, out of the home. We are workers and we have excellent skills. Um, and that's what this presentation is going to be about, is taking our skills that we have developed as mothers and putting them into employee terminology, or rather employer, so that as we fill out our resumes and we're getting ready to go back to work, um, we are able to present to these employers ways that we learned and that we grew and that we developed skills in the midst of motherhood. So, picture, if you will, a space shuttle that is still there on Cape Canaveral. It's just waiting to be launched, and the the rocket launch people, the engineers who are in charge of getting that space shuttle to um, be launched, to be able to defy gravity and go up into the different atmospheres of the earth, they come and they strap these other rockets to the space shuttle. And let's anthropomorphize that space shuttle. Let's give it the ability to think like a human. That's what anthropomorphize means. What is that space shuttle thinking right now? That space shuttle is thinking, oh my gosh, I need to be as light as a feather in order to defy gravity and go up into the different atmospheres of the earth. Why in the world would you rocket launchers, who claim that you are professionals and know what you're doing, why would you take something and strap it to me? That's just going to hold me down. And that is just what this space shuttle might be thinking. I'm supposed to go so high up, and you're holding me down. Of course, the rocket launch engineers, they understand what they're doing. They have devised these additional little rockets to help the space shuttle make that first um, launch. And then, of course, eventually those little rockets that they've strapped to it fall away from the space shuttle, and the space shuttle can continue on its trajectory, but it gets that help from those little rockets that are strapped to it at the beginning. This is an analogy, a metaphor for what motherhood does for us. It teaches us incredibly wonderful things that will help us soar, but we don't always realize that. If those little bitty rockets that the engineers are strapping to us, if those represent our children, sometimes we're tempted to think that those are holding us back, that those aren't going to serve any important purpose in our personal goal of being uplifted. And I am here to help you change your perspective on that, so that you realize your children and your opportunity to be a mother is actually instrumental in helping you reach your goals, in helping you really rocket away, and get to a different atmosphere. You'll be out of this world awesome because of your motherhood. It's not a matter of just waiting for the kids to grow up until you can finally launch. It's quite the opposite. It's your children are going to be extremely instrumental in your success. And so here I am, hoping to give you that important perspective and Then, as you become convinced of that, I need you to go out and share that perspective with employers, whether you have the opportunity to interview or if you have connections with human resources people, help them understand that connection. There's already scientific evidence out there. There have been studies done. I can provide links for that at another time. But these studies show that women in the workforce who have given birth to 2 or more children outperform fellow employees. They are more productive after the youngest child, reaches the age of 9. So that's interesting, isn't it? So the first few years of introducing motherhood into our schedules, it actually decreases our productivity. And those studies have been done as well. And it makes sense, right? I mean, motherhood changes our lives because we're introducing other lives into our lives. We can't really fall for the easy peasy messages about motherhood, that it's just a side hustle. And yeah, as long as you can get those kids into daycare, you'll be fine. Motherhood is a hugely transformative part of our lives, and we've got to give it the time and the energy that it requires. And so that time and energy can't go both places. It can't go to both the career and the other things. So here at Momivate, we have a document of positive affirmations that really set the tone for motherhood and really help us understand some of these aspects of motherhood that kind of get they don't get talked about as much because of this. I think it comes from sitcoms that kind of convince us that motherhood is just a side gig, and that we should be able to easily transition into motherhood and easily balance and juggle all the different parts of life. But at Momivate, we have years and years and years, especially just taking for myself personally. I have 8 children. So if you pile their ages on top of each other, then I have been a mother twice as long as I've been alive. So we just have all of this background, and there's 12 of us on the board. And we've all been gathering this information for years. We know from very clear experience that motherhood is its own ordeal, and the best way to deal with that ordeal is to face it and embrace it and dissect it and really cultivate our maternal skills. So that is what our RAISE certification is about. I was going to tell you about the Manifesto, though. They're on our website. So let me share my screen with you. I was actually working on building the website. So what you'll see at this exact moment was the building of the website. But let me share with you very quickly the Manifesto and let you have a chance. I just want to introduce it, but you will have the chance as part of your really delving into motherhood and claiming it as your career. This will be a wonderful starting place for you, is to claim the Manifesto as your set of affirmations. Print it out. In fact, there is the opportunity at the bottom to join our email list, and we will send you a PDF of the Manifesto that you can then use, stick it on your mirror, review all of these elements that really give good structure to motherhood and help you, especially just as you read each sentence and consider the truth of it. Just starting with the fact that to the world, you're just one person, but to your children, you are their world. And we've got to realize the truth of that statement and that you are building their little world, right? Their uh their vision is just this far. When they're first born, it's the distance from your eyes to the breast. So that as they are breastfeeding, they're becoming aware of what the world is. And it is you, mom. You are your child's world. And you can give them a beautiful world no matter what is going on outside of the four walls of your home. The strength and the certainty, and it's been shown even to affect how their brains develop, um, is how the mother interacts with her child. Some people might call it bonding. Some people might call it responsiveness. If a mother is responsive to that child's needs, even if we can't solve all their problems, we're able to put it in perspective with them, help them find solutions, help them just manage with what may not have a solution, and just be that world for them. So I encourage you first and foremost to take time, go to the website, the Manifesto. You could use the search bar if you want to find it. You can find it straight from this main page. We've got that slides here, and it says, have you ever heard of a manifesto? Well, a Momifesto, a bit more appropriate to our cause. So that's your first little bit of homework as you seek certification in motherhood. I'm going to keep sharing my screen. You'll see that I've got a presentation here, and it is a little bit still under construction, but I would like to talk you through that concept of whether or not motherhood is an acceptable profession. Now, Momivate, I think, is going to change the world as we grow and develop and become better known. Some of our ideas are downright revolutionary, and we need that right now. Motherhood used to be just kind of a default, what moms do once they've given birth. Of course, they spend their time in motherhood, but it has been this last century or so that motherhood has really changed, and it's all of a sudden thrown up in the air. It's questionable about whether this is a worthwhile way to spend our time. There is, unfortunately, some feelings out there that women who choose to be full-time moms are somehow lazy or are not contributing to society. That was a conversation I remember having in 8th grade. We girls were sitting around chatting about what we wanted to be when we grew up. And a consistent phrase was, well, of course I want to be a mom, but I also want to contribute to society. And so as I have gone through the next 40 years of my life since 8th grade, well, I'm not that old, but at least 30-ish years, I have really come to see that motherhood is a fantastic way to contribute to society. Again, the studies are out there that children are better off when they get to spend their formative years with their mothers. Now, that is not meant to induce guilt if you happen to be working full-time and spending the majority of your time elsewhere. Don't worry about guilt. Guilt is really It's kind of like being stuck in a traffic jam on the freeway and choosing to stay stuck, even though the lanes to your left are clearly not stuck. But somehow you got in this one lane, not your fault, right? You were just happened to be in this lane, like the lane of all women should go out and have careers and jobs. And but then somehow you become aware that the other lanes aren't suffering in the way that you are, of being tied up in traffic, scared you're going to rear end the person in front of you, or somebody's going to not notice your brake lights and they're going to rear end you. You're worried about being on time to wherever you're supposed to be, or you're just tired and wanted to get home and but here you are stuck. You can change lanes. Don't just be sitting there in the wrong lane. Go ahead, change lanes. Don't worry about guilt. Everything I've come to respect the fact. It's like I think it's a Buddhist concept. It's called impermanence. And it's wonderful to realize that everything changes. Everything changes. So let's make sure that it's constructive change. Of course, constructive change requires more effort, so to speak, but we feel so much more empowered. So, yeah, don't mess with the guilt. Just make the necessary changes once you have been informed and gain your own conviction of the truth of a new way of thinking. So, I just want to make it very clear, Momivate fully believes that motherhood is not only an acceptable profession, but it is the best choice for you to make once you've made the choice to have a child. And nowadays, having a child truly is a choice. And we have to also think in terms of our children and the choice that they would make. Wonderful, beautiful, delightful, gorgeous, smart, sweet, healthy children who love us in spite of our faults and errors and weaknesses. They are so forgiving. And so, even if we don't believe that we're the best caregivers, maybe we think that daycare leader went to college and got a degree in how to take care of kids. Our children still just want us. And that is where a lot of the brain development, like it's almost like we don't have to do anything to help their brains develop in that positive way, other than be present with them. And that is going to be such an essential part of their growth and their well-being. So moms, let's change our terminology though. I feel like we need to embrace a different word, not stay-at-home mom, full-time mom. So there's a couple of reasons for this. Now, of course, we all know what we mean when we say, I'm a stay-at-home mom. Everybody understands that what we're indicating is that we have a spouse who is the one who goes out and makes money. You know, we have determined that we want to be the main influence in our children's lives. So we have adopted that phraseology, stay-at-home mom. And I think we need to pick it. Let's rebel against that phrase because there is a subconscious negativity there. It's so limiting. I feel like it's almost demeaning, like I'm talking to a dog. Stay at home, you know? My home is a lovely place. I have put a lot of effort into trying to create a home where my children want to be, where I want to be. However, I don't want to be told to stay here, and I don't want to sign up for that all the time. I want to switch gears and kind of meld my terminology with the profession terminology. And of course, in the professional world, we don't call people stay at work people. We call them full time. They have full time jobs. It's their career. So, as motherhood is our career, let's be full time mothers. Now, my husband, he's a dad, a wonderful dad, but he's, you know, got a full time job. So that means about 40 hours a week, maybe 50. He also has hobbies. He does enjoy home, but he doesn't stay home. Okay. During the pandemic, of course, got something different going on there. But what a powerful thing as we consider motherhood to be a career in itself, a profession in itself. Let's use that terminology and let's give ourselves permission to leave our houses. And whatever it is that we're doing outside of the house, we're going to go take our kids to museums. We're going to go shopping. We're going to go volunteer at the local elementary school where we can have an impact broader than, because that is part of it, right? We want a sphere of influence that's a little bit beyond our own children. And that's a discussion I would love to get into too, is that concept of sphere of influence. And does it really matter how broad the sphere is, or does it matter how much impact we have on whatever size our sphere is? So yeah, as we take all of this into account with our full-time jobs and the concept of a full-time motherhood and putting that on a resume, that's terminology an employer respects and understands and is more likely to raise their eyebrows other than stay-at-home mom, which it has just a whole different sense of connotations. So again, as you go out and you interview or have opportunities, help Momivate change that terminology. Now, if we went to, let's say, the mall, and we just asked people at random, no matter who they are, whatever ages, anything, we just wanted to ask, what do moms do? I really think we would get a list of household chores. I think there is so little understanding of the work of motherhood beyond just keeping the house in reasonably tidy shape. And that is, again, this is where we are looking to expand people's understandings and perceptions. But so much of that motherhood stuff is intangible. It's so hard to really pinpoint what do moms do other than driving the kids to school or cleaning the house. I mean, these aspects of motherhood are important. But if you were to add them up, I don't think they would equal motherhood. If you were to hire somebody to wash your clothes, hire somebody to drive your kids somewhere, hire somebody to do your grocery shopping. I actually kind of have that going on for me right now. I really, really love the grocery ad on Walmart.com. So anyways, I really don't think that our children would fall in love with each of those individuals and start calling them mom. I think there is this permeating aspect that we cannot name. Oh, we might try to name it, right? Love. But that doesn't sound like an employable skill. So let's take that word love and let's look at all the different other ways to talk about it in a way that an employer can respect and appreciate. So, all of these other aspects of motherhood could be outsourced. But if we have it determined in our heads that that's all that moms do, then we are devaluing what we actually do. That we are more than the sum of our parts, is what I want to say in this regard. But we have to fight for that recognition. We have to be able to be more than just a man with a womb. Otherwise, motherhood is reduced to 9 months of gestational discomfort, and all we're doing is replacing the population on the planet. And a YOLO, if I only have one life to live, and all I'm supposed to do is replace the population on the planet, then that just is not inspiring to me. I want my life to be rich, and I do not mean wealth. In fact, I find it very interesting how many of our indicators have something to do with poverty, but we never really look at other indicators within poverty that might indicate some families are happy without wealth. And let's try that. Anybody want to figure out a good study that can help us understand that money does not equal happiness, and the pursuit of money doesn't actually guarantee anything. Money cannot buy us health. Money cannot prevent divorce. In fact, I think sometimes the pursuit of money is sometimes a cause for divorce. So we need to again dissect that intangible aspect of motherhood, that if we are intentional and conscientious, it really does have these other ways to discuss what that love is, what that commitment level is, and we can present it to employers in a way that is concretely valuable to them. So that's the answer here. Moms raise up society. We do not just raise our own children. This is absolutely fundamental to understand. Yes, in general, I am only raising to adulthood my own children. But in doing that, I am raising all of society, because what is society made up of? Society is made up of all of these mothers' children. And this is so essential to grasp. If at all possible, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a set of 3D glasses. I actually have them over there, but I won't take time to go grab them. Here you go, your own 3D glasses. Now, have you ever gone to a 3D movie and for whatever reason removed your glasses? In my case, it would be because a kid was sitting on my lap and they removed my glasses because they thought I looked better without them. Okay, so the movie is still there. Like, you can still basically see what's going on, but it's definitely very blurry, and the coloring is off. It's like it's missing the right palette of colors. Now, since I am handing you these 3D glasses for you to view motherhood with more clarity, with the real spectrum of colors, everything is going to be clearer for you and more enjoyable. Watching a 3D movie without the right glasses, definitely, I can make you nauseous. So motherhood is more than a chef job, a chauffeur, a laundress. All due respect, you wonderful laundresses out there. But mothers need to be allowed to invest our time in motherhood. And when we do that, we give society these beautiful gifts. We, of course, starting here with our own core of our own children. And then as we give them these gifts, imperfect as they may be, our children, again, they are so forgiving. They just want us, all imperfections included. So we give society solid relationships. We give a beautiful atmosphere for our children to come home to, because they do venture out of home. They don't stay at home either, do they? But when they do come here back to home, they want to be here because we have developed an atmosphere, conscientiously created it. So relationships, atmosphere. The I is for income and outgo. Now, this is very interesting because here I am advocating women to not necessarily go out and make income. But the fact is, income has another side of its coin. So even if I'm not the one actively bringing in the income, there is the outgo element. And that is where, as a full-time mother, I have incredible impact, is deciding how to spend it. So that is kind of what my husband teases me. He says, I make the money, you spend it. It's a great system as long as I really respect the fact that he works hard for our money. And then I conscientiously go out there and figure out the best ways to stretch that dollar and give my family financial peace of mind through being debt free and stability that comes with wise use of finances. And then we've got the S for schedules and systems. That I think it's a huge part of motherhood, right? Is determining all of the comings and goings and what's happening inside the home. So household management, teaching our children chores. The huge is screen time, right? That requires effort, lots of effort. And we need time to do these things, and we need solid skills. So we like to say here at Momivate that we are here to give you an EMT. We're here to give you the education of how to run these systems and schedules in your home. We're here to give you the time to do it because we teach you not to chase two rabbits. At the same time, you need to be allowed to focus on motherhood that is worthy of your time and effort. Convince the father of your children of that, and of course help convince the rest of society of that. And then we want to alleviate monetary concerns that come from being a one income family. So yeah, that is, whoops, that's not the PowerPoint I'm working on. So moms, that is what we're going for. The other thing that you might be doing with your time as a full-time mom is paying attention to the energy in your family. Now, this could be associated with the sleep amounts that you're getting. It is tied in with exercise and also with our eating habits. So that's, again, the Raise Up acronym is 5 letters. It's R for relationships, A for atmosphere, I for income and outgo, S for schedules and systems, and then this E for energy. And it sounds like just like our physical health when we say it's eating, exercise, sleep, but really consider how those physical aspects are so powerfully impactful on our mental health. And isn't that one of the major issues of the day and age we're living in? our children are suffering major mental health concerns, and we can be addressing those if we know what we're doing. So Momivate wants to give you education on those things. We want to alleviate monetary concerns, and we want to give you time to focus on motherhood, as well as time to focus on yourself. So we have wonderful programs available, but we're nonprofit because we want to provide these things to you as a thank you for what you are doing for society as you raise society. And that's why we have this certification in motherhood, and it is provided to you very, very low cost. Thank you to our donors, our benefactors, um, who also value motherhood and are willing to pick up the tab, so to speak, of these programs. I am the main mama. I call myself the chair mom of the motherboard, and I work for free for you. I volunteer my time just like every other member of our board does. And so we also have our fundraisers, but we don't target you when we do our fundraising. We do ask you to buy in and cover your monthly fees, but we keep it nominal, really, and provide to you so much beyond what we ask you to pay for your membership to Momivate. And we even have a scholarship program available if you genuinely cannot afford what we offer, but you want it and need it and value it. Then we have ways for you to earn your monthly fees. And so the first thing that we will provide to you, absolutely free of charge, you don't have to be a Momivate member to take advantage of this. It is an online bulletin board. Awesome. I know. Hello, Trello. If you've never heard of Trello, this is a defining point in your life right now, learning about Trello and how incredible it is in keeping track of life in general. So we have created a Trello board that you can use. It's called a template. And this is the link to it. We'll send out that link in a, well, actually, I guess I could put it in the chat. I think I have it on my thing right now. So let's stop sharing so I can get to the chat. And this link, yep, that link will get you to the raise template. Now, you aren't convinced you want the template yet because I haven't shown it to you. Let me introduce you to Trello and this link. So I had it on there so that I could bring it up here on my other Trello account. You will be able to keep track of your favorite things here. So this says, this is a public template for anyone on the internet to copy. I'm not gonna worry about copying it at this moment because I want to just introduce you to how it works. So again, we've got our concept of certification up here. Once you do copy the template, create your own board, then you'll be able to go into each of these cards and make notes on it. So, yeah, well, maybe I should go ahead and create a board from the template. I'm going to put it on my workspace for the Raise Up directors. And I'm going to keep all the cards and keep the template cards. So I guess probably your first step, if you aren't familiar with Trello, is to go in and create your own Trello workspace. And then you'll want to create this board from this template. And then you'll be able to make the changes that you need to and want to. You can even change the background. I picked those beautiful butterflies because I love I find butterflies to be very inspirational, and that's what I'm doing with motherhood with Momivate. I'm taking this ugly little multi-legged caterpillar and I am giving it wings. I'm Momivate is revolutionizing motherhood. It's been stuck in this funny cocoon for the last century or so as it's trying to evolve, and now it's time for our wings to come out and for us to really fly. You can kind of connect that back to the space shuttle launching analogy. Let's go, moms. Let's elevate motherhood. So here you are with the RAISE certification board that you have created from that template based on the link that I sent you. Now, the thing about our relationships is that there are relationships experts out there in the world, and sometimes they give us conflicting advice. And we have to be able to sort through all of that somehow. We have to have some way of filtering what advice do I listen to, because this expert says do XYZ, but this expert says if you do XYZ, you will end up in trouble. So how do I know? Who do I trust? And so if you work off of a set of principles and expert who's talking about XYZ does not align with those principles, then you can trust the expert who has been warning you about that. But then you also want to find the expert who does teach you ABC and who gives you the right information, the things that do align with your principles. So that is what is here on this card under relationships, is this concept of principles. So relationships, it outlines various principles that help us. There's only 7, so it's very, very understandable. This isn't a book, but it's going to speak to your heart, and you will feel the truths of these things as you read them, and you will realize that this is the standard you need to measure the things against, that as you gather information, does it align with these principles? And if not, discard it. You don't have an extra minute to spend on the wrong things. You need to be gathering resources that are going to serve your purposes. So take some time to read through the principles. First and foremost, we've got principles here for atmosphere. That's creating your home, the ambiance of your home. We've got these principles for income and outgo. These are things that are going to carry you financially, that give you stability, that there are some people out there who are trying to get you to chase the dollar instead of stretch the dollar. And you've just got to change your frame of mind to where you are prioritizing, you're self-disciplining, you're sacrificing. And please, at Momivate, we want you to be able to embrace the word sacrifice and realize it means giving something up, but you'll be getting something so much better in the long run. So it's this long-term perspective. Okay, same thing with schedules and systems. I love the principles here. They are almost like brick by brick. Like if you put vision as your foundation, and then with your vision, you put a plan into place, you put it all on your calendar, you implement, you follow through, you make adjustments. I mean, this is powerful stuff. Thank you. We have directors here at Momivate and over each of these areas, and it's just really exciting to go in and see how they've done this work for you of finding the principles, putting them in place so that as you decide what your resources are going to be, you can base it on this work that has been done. So I'm just going to take a minute. Shout out to Lorena for I stopped sharing my screen. Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me start sharing my screen again so that you can see this beautiful Trello board. Oh, I'm embarrassed. Good thing this is a dry run. All right, sharing my screen again, and here's this beautiful Trello board, and here goes my shout outs. Shout out to Lorena Hingson. You put together these principles for relationships. It's awesome. It's absolutely incredible to read. I want to let everyone know Lorena has a PhD in interpersonal relations and is able to share that with each of you on a voluntary basis. Isn't it wonderful? She's volunteering her time and expertise to teach you these principles. And then we've got atmosphere. We had the help of a few different directors to create this. Our current director is Callie Harris. So thank you, Callie, for the principles in atmosphere. Then we've got the income and outgo principles. That is thanks to Leah Westover. Thank you, Leah, for helping us figure out our money. And she's got some good background. She's taught some classes in self-reliance, which are where you'll see some of these principles at play. And then Cindy Thompson, beautiful, wonderful principles in our schedules and systems. That really, I mean, honestly, this is in schedules and systems, but you can use it across the board anywhere to set up your systems in life, whether it be the relationships, even what's your vision of your relationships, what's your plan, things like that. So all of these really do kind of intertwine like that. I think of them as a set of gears, and the one gear is moving, and as it moves, it helps the next gear move, and then it's set up, its cogs intertwine with the next gear, and they just keep everything moving along. So yes, we have it kind of dissected out, but we know that they all intertwine with each other, don't we, mamas? And then here we've got the E for energy. Again, we were talking about how this sounds like it just has to do with our body, but really, this is where body and soul interconnect. And we can't take them apart, right? Or they die. This absolutely affects our mentality. So we need to eat well. We need to get some exercise. Okay, I'm just as guilty as anyone. But we also need good sleep. So let's commit. And we've got principles here too, because again, there are so much varying advice out there, conflicting principles, perhaps, or theories, philosophies, and we've just got to be able to determine what are we going to buy into in this case. So our director of energy is the wonderful Erica Moore. Thank you so much, Erica, for donating your time to Momivate. And those are some shout outs to each of those wonderful women. I'm glad that I have this opportunity to be with each of you here tonight as I introduce this concept of certifying in motherhood. And part of Momivate's goal is to go and actively advocate among employers so that they can come to understand that mothers are conscientiously, deliberately building our skills. And what an exciting thing to change society in this way, in this very constructive way. I apologize for when I didn't realize I was sharing my screen. At least I haven't been muted this whole time, right? That's a positive. um, so again, thank you for joining me here, and I really enjoyed. I'm actually talking to nobody at this exact moment, but that's not the point. The point is that that I had this chance to try it out and give you all this certification dry run. And I hope that you learned something. And I know I got excited, even if I didn't have an actual audience. I really enjoyed having this chance to present this to you. And let's meet again next Thursday, and I'll go over all this again. I'll be better about sharing my screen. I'll watch my own recording and learn from my mistakes, and improve my PowerPoint, um, so that it is really ready to go for a good, solid discussion about certifying in motherhood and what Momivate is picturing as we talk about that, and how we can translate that vision to employers and get you recognized for what you are doing as you raise society. Thanks again, moms, and we will meet again next week. Goodbye.